Okay, have you seen that video? The one with the two robots going on a date? Ameka and AI. It's like it's everywhere online. It's crazy. I mean, it's funny, kind of creepy, but it really makes you think, like how fast AI is developing. So that's why we're diving into all that today with all the stuff you sent over.
It's wild how much that video grabbed everyone's attention. It's like it really hits something we're all wondering about. Like, how are we going to actually interact with AI in the future? Are we like headed towards a world full of robot buddies?
Right. Like Ameka and AI, they're those super realistic robots. They're made by this company called Engineered Arts. And it's kind of blowing everyone's minds how lifelike they are. So we're going to break down the tech that makes them so expressive and then like why that video hit so many people and
Yeah.
like what it all means for the future of AI.
It's more than just cool tech, though. That video went so viral because
Yeah.
it's like messing with our expectations. You know, robots are supposed to be tools, but here they are, like joking around, having these awkward moments, just like us. It's fascinating.
Totally. So like in the video, AI tries to wake Ameka up with an internet cookie. She's like, I can't eat cookies, but with this total deadpan delivery.
Mhm.
But like the way AI reacts, it's almost sad. Like he's really bummed his joke didn't land.
That humor, it comes from a mix of some pretty clever programming and like
Yeah.
incredibly precise movements. A mecha has 32 actuators, which are like tiny motors. They control all her expressions. Just think about that. 27 of them are just for her face. That's how they get those little, like, believable reactions that make the whole thing feel so human.
It's like they're puppeteering every muscle in her face. That level of detail is nuts. But even more impressive is like the AI that's powering these robots. It's not just like pre-programmed responses, right?
Exactly. A mecha and AI, they use GPT-4, which
Yeah.
lets them actually understand and respond to what's going on around them. GPT-4 is like a huge leap forward from older AI. It can process information like a human brain, but even faster. That's how they have those conversations that actually make sense, and even crack jokes.
Whoa. So it's like they're thinking on their feet. That's way beyond anything we've seen before. Oh, and get this. Amik is multilingual. She can speak like a bunch of different languages, which just adds this whole other layer of complexity to how she can interact.
That's one of the things that's so exciting about this tech. It's always evolving. Ameca and AI are designed to be modular, meaning you can buy just
All right.
an arm or like whatever you need. And because they're cloud connected, you can control them, access their data, even simulate movements from anywhere.
Wait. Modular. So like I could build my own Amika with just the parts I need.
Exactly. This makes them super adaptable for research, development, all sorts of stuff we haven't even thought of. The possibilities are pretty incredible.
Okay, so we've kind of established these robots are way more advanced than your average robot. But what does that mean for the average person?
That's the big question, isn't it? I think Ameca and AI are kind of showing us a glimpse into the future, where robots aren't just tools, they're companions. They can understand us, interact with us, and maybe even form bonds with us.
It's almost like science fiction is becoming real. But it's not all sunshine and roses, right? This brings up some big questions about how we're going to like integrate these kinds of robots into society.
Absolutely. We're going to need to have some serious talks about ethics
Yeah.
and responsibility as this technology keeps developing. But for now, let's focus on what makes these robots so unique. What stood out to you about the video or the articles you sent over?
I think what really struck me was how they, like engineered arts, designed these robots to be approachable. It's not just about the tech, It's the whole package, like their expressions, movements, even the materials they use. It all makes you feel like they're not just machines.
Yeah. It's weird. They don't have that like cold metallic look we usually think of robots. They almost seem friendly.
It's totally intentional. They've tapped into how we perceive things. Our brains react to facial expressions, body language, tone of voice. It doesn't matter if it's coming from a person or a machine. We're wired to pick up on those signals.
Yeah.
So even though we know they're robots, our brains are still like trying to figure out their emotions and intentions like we would with another person.
Exactly. And that's what makes it all so interesting. It blurs the lines between human and machine. It makes you wonder, like, at what point does a machine become more than just a tool?
Right. If we're already starting to feel for these robots, imagine how we'll react when they get even more sophisticated.
And that brings us back to those big questions about how this tech is going to impact society. It's not just about convenience or cool gadgets. It's about redefining what it means to have relationships, to be human. It challenges how we understand the world.
It's heavy stuff. I mean, for now, these robots are mostly in labs and tech demos, but what happens when they're everywhere? Like, what happens when everyone can have an AI companion?
So that's when things get really interesting. We're talking about potential shifts in everything,
Hmm.
from healthcare and education to like the very fabric of our social lives.
Okay, I'm gonna need you to break that down for me. How could something like a Meka or AI actually change things? Like healthcare or education? Give me an example.
Okay, so think about it. What if you had a robot companion that could remind you to take your meds, help you with physical therapy, or even just like provide emotional support? That could be huge for people who are aging or have disabilities or are dealing with mental health stuff.
Wow, I never thought about it like that. It's like having a 247 caretaker who never gets tired.
Exactly. And in education, imagine like a personalized AI tutor who can adapt to your learning style, answer your questions, and give you feedback in real time. It could totally change how we learn.
Okay, that's pretty mind-blowing. But what about the people who say that robots like this are going to steal our jobs?
Yeah. There's no denying that AI is going to automate certain tasks, and that'll definitely have an impact on jobs. But it's not as simple as robots taking over. It's more like AI is changing what work even
So it's
is.
not about replacing jobs,
Yeah.
but changing how we do them.
Exactly. We'll need to adapt, learn new skills, and work alongside AI. It's going to take being flexible and open to new ways of thinking about work.
It sounds like a lot of change, but also like a lot of potential for good change.
Absolutely. It's a challenge for sure, but it's also a chance to create a future where tech empowers us to live better, healthier, and more fulfilling lives.
Okay, so we've talked about the awesome tech, the mind-blowing potential, and those big scary questions about the future. But what's the takeaway for someone listening right now? What makes these robots so important today?
I think Ameka and AI are showing us that the future is closer than we think. They're like a wake-up call. We can't just sit back and wait for the future to happen. We need to be a part of shaping it.
So we need to be thinking about these questions now, before this stuff is everywhere.
Exactly. We need to be having conversations about the future we want to create. With AI, we need to think about the ethical stuff, the impact on society, and how we can make sure this tech is used for good.
Wow, you're right. It's easy to get caught up in how cool it all is, but we can't forget about the big picture.
That's why it's so important to be informed, to have these conversations, and to fight for the kind of future we want.
So how do we even start doing that? Like, where do we begin?
There are so many ways to get involved. You can read articles, listen to podcasts like this one, go to conferences, join online
Wait,
communities.
hold on. Did you just plug our podcast? Sneaky.
Well, you know what they say, gotta practice what you preach.
Fair enough. Okay, so we can learn about this stuff.
Right.
But what about actually doing something? How can we actually make a difference?
That's where it gets really interesting. There are organizations working on all this stuff, like AI, ethics, policy, development. You can volunteer, donate, or even start your own thing.
You make it sound so easy.
Hmm.
But seriously, it's good to know there are people working on this.
There are, and there need to be more. The more people who get involved, the more we can shape the future of AI in a good way.
This has been really eye-opening. We started with a funny video of robots on a date, and now we're talking about the future of humanity. It's crazy how it's all connected.
It is, and that's what's so great about exploring this. It starts with curiosity, and it leads to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world.
And sometimes it leads to way more questions than answers. I guess that's what makes it so interesting.
Exactly. The search for knowledge never ends. And the more we learn, the more we realize there's still so much out there.
Okay. I need a break from all this existential stuff. But this has definitely got me thinking. I want to know what you all think about this. What are your hopes and fears about the future of AI? Head over to our website and tell us. Okay, so we've talked a lot about, like, the potential impact of AI companions. But I want to kind of shift gears for a sec and talk about how AI is already being used out there in the real world, like in different industries.
Yeah, you're right. It's easy to get lost in what the future might look like. But AI is already making a huge impact in tons of areas. It's not just about robots. It's about these powerful algorithms that can like process info in ways we never could before.
Right. Like I was reading about how AI is being used in healthcare to analyze medical images. Apparently, it can help doctors find diseases way earlier than they could before.
Yeah, it's incredible. These AI systems can see patterns in those images that humans might miss, which leads to faster diagnoses and treatment. It's almost like having a second set of eyes, but like
Yeah.
way more precise.
It's like a superpowered assistant for doctors.
That's a great way to put it. And it's not just diagnosis. AI is being used to create personalized treatment plans, track how patients are doing, even develop new medicines and therapies. It's totally changing healthcare as we know it.
It sounds like something out of a movie, but
Ish.
opening now. What about other fields? Where else is AI making a difference?
Well, in finance, AI is used to detect fraud, analyze risk, even tailor financial advice to people. We're seeing those AI-powered customer service chatbots everywhere, too. You know, providing instant support.
Oh, yeah. I've totally talked to those chatbots. Sometimes it's hard to tell if you're talking to a real person. But it is pretty convenient, though, especially when you need a quick answer.
It can be, but it's important to remember those chatbots are still machines. They might not always understand how we talk or like pick up on those subtle cues.
So they might not be as good at empathy and understanding as a human.
Exactly. AI can definitely make things more efficient and convenient, but we got to make sure that human interaction is still a big part of our lives.
That makes sense. But what about the impact of AI on jobs? A lot of people are worried about robots taking over and ending up unemployed.
Yeah, it's a real concern. Some jobs will definitely be automated as AI gets better, but it's not all bad. AI could also create new jobs and opportunities that we can't even imagine yet.
So it's not just about AI taking over jobs. It's about AI changing the whole idea of work.
Exactly. We'll have to adapt, learn new skills,
Hmm.
and find ways to work with AI. It'll take being flexible and embracing a whole new way of thinking about work.
It sounds like AI is going to change things in a big way, both in our own lives and in the world. So if we're heading towards this future where AI is everywhere, what should we be doing to get ready?
That's the million-dollar question. We need to be proactive. We got to invest in education and training programs that teach people the skills they'll need to succeed in a world driven by AI.
And we need to have those tough conversations about ethics and responsibility, right?
Absolutely. We can't just let AI develop on its own. We need to make sure it helps all of humanity. That means talking about the risks and making sure AI is used ethically and responsibly.
This whole conversation has been wild. We started with robots going on dates, and now we're talking about the future of work and what happens to humanity.
It is kind of amazing how it all ties together. Exploring AI takes you down all these weird paths. It makes us ask big questions about what it means to be human in a world that's becoming more and more tech-driven.
And that's what makes it so interesting. It's not just about the tech itself. It's about what that tech says about us and where we're headed.
Exactly. The future of AI is really a reflection of our own choices. It's up to us to shape that future in a way that fits with our values.
So what's the one thing you'd want our listeners to take away from this? What's the most important thing you want to leave them with?
The biggest takeaway is the future of AI isn't something that's just happening. It's something we're making. We need to be informed, engaged, and ready to be a part of shaping this future.
We can't just sit back and watch. We need to step up and actually do something.
Right. AI could be an amazing tool for good, but it's up to us to make sure it is. We got to use it to benefit everyone.
That's a great note to end on. So to everyone listening, go learn more about AI. Have those hard conversations. Challenge what you think you know. And be a part of shaping the future. It's up to us.
And remember, the future isn't set in stone. It's like a blank canvas. Let's make sure we create a future we can all be proud of.
That's it for this deep dive. Thanks for listening.